Islam. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and is subject to all inferior names, abuses, and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon you. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the name and principles that delude to slavery. At this time, I'd like to recite the Moorish American prayer because this is the source from which I draw my strength. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. First off, I'd like to rise to give praise to Allah. I like to give praise to Allah because it is He who is the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'd like to give honor to Allah's holy and illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I'd like to give honor to all of those and honor to all of you that have laid and assist us in this, our divine and gigantic mission, the uplifting of fallen humanity. At this time, I'd like to read a chapter from the Moorish Holy Quran that was divinely prepared by our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for our earthly and our divine salvation, and is read on this wise. The end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. The last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nations and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did and teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali. His forerunner is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali. He was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree and return to their own and be one with their Father, God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawful and chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desire to receive a charter, the prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation, descendants from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the family of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and our divine salvation. Praise Allah and honor the prophet. We're talking about Jesus now. And we're talking about the Last Supper. And when we're talking about the Last Supper, what are we talking about? We're talking about food for thought. At this Last Supper, Jesus was teaching us the duty of a husband, the duty of a wife, the duty of a child, and was telling us how to learn to love instead of hate. He was telling us that we were who our forefathers were. He said that we are not Negro, colored, or black. But I want to stop here and get back into some of this subject matter because I'm jumping here and there, but I'm trying to teach a lesson that we need to know because there's so many lessons and so many people are asking about these lessons. So let's look again. Let's go back to this fez. I have a fez on. And no one had this fez. This fez did not come out of Europe. This fez came out of the Africa. And all of our forefathers had these lessons and they gave them to us that we may learn to love instead of hate. And we might know of our higher self and our lower self, because there's two selves. There's a higher self and there's a lower self. The higher self is the mother virtues and the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is the carnal self, is the body of desires, is a reflection of your higher self distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. Now listen to this. Drew Ali asked us 101 questions. I'm going to ask you a few. He said, who made you? And the answer is Allah. It said, who is Allah? It said, Allah is the Father of the universe. It said, can we see him? The answer is no. It said, where's the nearest place we could meet him? It said, in the heart. It said, who is Noble Drew Ali? It said, he is Allah's prophet. It said, what is a prophet? It said, a prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. It said, what is the duty of a prophet? It's to save nations from the wrath of Allah. How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves. Now, who are you? I'm Asiatic Muslim. Why are you Asiatic Muslim? Because there's but two formulations, Asiatic and European. And I'm sure not European. And I'm a Muslim because I submit my will to Allah. And when you submit your will to Allah, that means that you're living certain principles that was given to you by your forefathers. Your forefathers and your foremothers are those that taught you. Now look at this. I was speaking about Jesus. I was speaking about his mother Mary. I was speaking about his grandmother Anna. And I was speaking about Jacqueline. Now we know that when you begin to talk about Mary, see, and when you begin to talk about Elizabeth, and when you begin to talk about Ruth, see, let's go back to Ruth, because I got the word Ruth, but when you put a T on Ruth, you get the truth. So we're talking about the truth here. We're talking about something that was taken away from you and taken away from me. And we ain't at war. We ain't at sin with no one. We ain't mad with no one. We just trying to teach these things necessary to make our members better citizens. And the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. And those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and is subject to all inferior names, abuses, and mistreatment that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the name and principles that delude to slavery. So now we're talking about names and we're talking about principles that delude to slavery. Because we as a people, we got a lot to say. We have a lot to say, but you ain't gonna be able to say nothing until you begin to honor the creed and principles of your mothers and fathers. First thing we have to do, as I said earlier, when I went to school, they told me that I was a Negro. They told me that I was colored. They told me that I was black. And these names was given to slaves by slaveholders. When? In 1779. What happened in 1779? What happened to 1865? These are things that we have to go and look at and investigate. And once we investigate, then we begin to look at it and understand who we are. All my friends. I was at the store this morning. Everybody that come in, they call themselves black. It is a sin. It's a sin to call yourself black. It's a sin to call yourself anything other than who your forefathers were. Because in 711, the Moors, which is us, went into Spain. And we went into Spain, we came and we gave Spain civilization. But you know, I said it earlier, right here on March the 2nd, 1492, it says that 300,000 Jews were expelled from Spain. Let me reiterate that. It said in 1492, 300,000 Jews were expelled from Spain. Now, who are these Jews that we're talking about? And who expelled them? We know the European nations expelled them, but who was they that got expelled from Spain? Because whoever was that got expelled from Spain, you took their birthright. You took their name. That's what you did. And now those that called themselves Jew, they took our birthright. They're Germans. My great president that's doing a great work, he's a German. This is what we need you to understand. We're talking about those of African descent now. We're not talking to the European because you're doing your thing and you have already done your thing. You done buried my forefathers and everything. But I have an obligation as a sheik. And that obligation is to tell the people they need to investigate who they are and who their forefathers were. What I have around my neck is a circle 7. And it have 4 breaks. It have 4 breaks, and each one of those breaks represent Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. That's 4. Politically, religiously, socially, and economically. See? And there's a few other things that go with this, but it came from your forefathers and mine. These are things that we had before the advent of slavery. Before the Europeans stepped in and did the things that they was doing, these are the lessons that we was taught. That's why the book say these lessons that we have are for all those that love Jesus. Not nobody else. The lessons that we have for all those that love Jesus. We said that King David, Solomon, and all these brothers had a good lesson to teach us, and they taught it. And Jesus was taught a different lesson. And they had Jesus talking about some spiritual things. Jesus telling us that the rise above the flesh. How can somebody rise above the flesh? Well, when you think things that's diametrically opposed to what Jesus taught, then you haven't rose upon the flesh. But the way that you rise above the flesh is to try to live according to the 5 principles. Noble Ali came with 5 principles that he brought to you and me. And these principles was love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. He said you love your brothers and sisters and you tell them the truth. That they live in peace, have freedom, and justice will come to us all. And man today is what his forefathers were yesterday. Now we are talking all this talk, but this is not who we are now. Now we remember when that lesson that I just taught about in Africa, where they put our people in the dungeon and start taking music and putting it in our head so it would take us away from who our forefathers were. Now, when you look at my brother and when you look at my sister, they don't honor their father, they don't honor their mother, they don't want an Asiatic sister, all they want is a European sister. And the reason why that is because the teachings that was given to us. We was given some teachings to take you away from who your forefathers were. And those principles of Negro, colored, and black are names that was given to you and me by slaveholders. But let's go back and look at the date. 1779. And lasted until 1865. Now, a lot of people don't do that kind of study. You don't look at what transpired in 1779, but it has something to do with the slave trade. You don't have time to look at what took place in 1865 because you got to do your homework. You're in college. You're going to school. You have no idea. Look at the history. The Moors went into Spain in 711. Now, you know in 711, see, I'm trying to give you some signs because you could win with 7 or you could win with 11. Shoot the dice, you win with 7, you win with 11. But you done lost with the 7 and you done lost with the 11 because these was names that was given to slaves by slaveholders. Now we ain't looking at this. In 1779 it lasted until 1865 when? During the time of slavery. But you Ali say this is a new era of time. And all men now, listen to it, he said all men now must proclaim their free national name. Now let me tell you something. It's important that I say this because everybody is at odds now. They're at odds because you have a lot of our leaders is dying. And they're telling the government about reparation and the way Atlantic slave trade and how they treated our people. You can't talk about the Atlantic slave trade if you was paid off to teach us certain things. Because when you begin to talk about the Atlantic slave trade, the only people who could talk about the Atlantic slave trade is me. And the reason why I could talk about the Atlantic slave trade is because we were talking about the advent of slavery. We were talking about a name that was given to slaves by slaveholders. See? And the name that was given to slave by slaveholders is all you people. They keep calling yourself Negro, colored, and black. And it hurts me because Drew Ali lost his life. Noble Drew Ali founded the Moorish Science Temple of America in 1913. I was on a colony. I went down Moorish Home number 1. It's in Prince George, Virginia. And this was years ago. The governess at that time, she passed now. And when we went into the meeting, she got to crying when she seen me. And she said if there was brothers and sisters around with the prophet when he was around, they never would have been able to get him. This is why you look at certain tapes and they was talking about the people that was given hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And the reason why they was given $100,000 a year is to call yourself black. And all of our brothers who's supposed to be intelligent, supposed to be strong, you are unintelligent because you know good and well the only black flag that we know is the one that kills roaches. You know that when you begin to talk about the Dutch, when you begin to talk about the Portuguese, when you begin to talk about the French, and when you begin to talk about St. Patrick's Day, all of these are Europeans. They are not Asiatic. When you begin to talk about Asia, and when you begin to talk about Europe, whenever you will hear one talk about Jesus, or whenever you hear one talk about divine creed, they're Asiatic. In all the world, there is but one thing. One is truth, and the other is falsehood. And falsehood is that which seemed to be. Because man today is what his forefathers were yesterday. You can't change it. And I'm honored that I'm able to say this to you because all of the children, you are not black. You are not colored. You are not Negroes. And if your mother and your father call you that, then they are slaves to sin. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the name and principles that delude to slavery. And the principles that delude to slavery is the principles that I'm living. I'm living these principles of Negro, colored, and black. But let me tell you something, and I want to reiterate this because it might help you investigate, especially my family. Because when I was in the city last month, my cousin Ruth, she turned 100 years old. And I had the opportunity to meet Cheryl, my cousin, and all of her brothers. And in my conversation with these brothers, because all of them is truck drivers and they have their own truck, they said, man, I be driving and I be so tired when I'm driving on the road. He said, what I'm going to do, cuz? He said, now, when I'm driving, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the Moorish Voice television broadcast and listen to your show, and it's going to help me stay awake. And I like that because the name of this show here is the Moorish Voice television broadcast. Not Negro broadcast, not colored broadcast, or not black broadcast. The name of this is the Moorish broadcast. And the reason why it's the Moorish broadcast, because just like I have a friend, just came back from Vietnam, he's from Vietnam. Everybody have a nationality except you and me. And when you call I'm talking to you cousins. I'm talking to you daughter. I'm talking to you son-in-laws. When you call yourself Negro, colored, and black, you will set yourself outside of the constitutional fold. Because if we talking about redeem our people from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth, you have to teach them who they are and who their forefathers were. It's going to take some years, and we know it ain't going to take overnight. But you have to tell the people who they are. Now, if you tell the people who they are, you ain't going to have no lot of money. You ain't going to have no lot of nothing. But you don't need nothing because your purpose on earth is to teach those things necessary to make our members better citizens. And what will make our people better citizens other than telling them who they are? Letting them know that they are not Negroes, colored, and black, because these names was given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now. And all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. So the book say, you can get on your knees and pray to God. Whenever certain things transpire in your life and you need an answer, all you got to do is call God and ask God. Say, God, my mother first went to school. She said she was a Negro. And then she become black and colored. Say, what is this? Because everybody else have a nationality except me. So what is the reason for all of this? It came through the advent of slavery. When those Europeans put their foot on our neck in 1492, this is when we start taking on other names and principles that wasn't our own. So what we need to do, and we need to look at this, we need to go back to school. Because I just told you that all across the country, everybody got different lessons that they teach. That's why a lot of brothers call themselves black, they call themselves Negro, they call themselves colored, because they don't know any better. They call themselves black because this is a name that was given to you by your slave holders. And why would your slave master give you that? Because they took Jesus. Let me reiterate that. I have to keep saying this because you got to pound it in until it become a part of every part. You took my Jesus. Not only did you, when you took Jesus, you took me. You took my Jesus, and now in the church, all of our brothers and sisters are in the church. And all of our brothers and sisters, not only are you in the church, I was in there with them the other day, and they praying, but all of them got their eyes closed. I couldn't close my eyes because I didn't know if the move might come. Because the way that preacher did me up in that church, my daughter laughed at it. I didn't say them because I understood. I understood that they was Christians. I'm not a Christian. I love my brothers and sisters, but I'm what my forefathers were. When you begin, let me say this again, before this show is over. In 1492, less than 10 years, this is when the Roman Catholic Church took charge. And when the Roman Catholic Church took charge, this is when they start calling us one thing and they self another. So we talking about the Roman Catholic Church. We know about the Roman Empire. And when you begin to talk about the Roman Empire, you know, this is when Christianity got its rise. But Noble Jew Ali said, as I read, that the foundation of Christianity began in Rome. I know you messed up about it. I know you don't like it. I don't like it either. But the truth is the light. And he said it was the Roman nations that founded the first church, of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth. Now we talking about Jesus of Nazareth. Look at all these different places. They talking about the Israelites. They talking about the Hamathite. These are names of those that was taken away from you. You took all my name from me. You gave it to your people. You took even those of African descent. All of those that's in certain parts of Africa now are like you. All them dark-hued brothers who look just like me from Africa, they're no longer there. You move them somewhere else. Most of them you move over there to Nigeria, Kenya, Sierra Leone, and all those brothers over there. They was the brothers with us in Spain in 7-11. Check the records out. Don't take my word for it. Look over there in the east. It says from the east comes all light. It says, although the sun is hanging at high noon, the blind cannot see the light. The same as the Islamic creed brought to the Asiatics from North America by Prophet Noble Jew Ali, who offered to those who were sick at heart, tried for many years, yet they are blind and cannot see the light. Nor the prophet trying to put new wine in old skins, for he knows that it will burst them. Yet he had the remedy for the nation. The same remedy brought by Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, which remedy is the truth. But the nations do not want the truth. It is too stern. But until they accept it and find out where it truly is, there'll continue to be religious controversy. In this age, there's still much religious controversy as to the right thing. Big and powerful ministers have come to the conclusion that something is wrong. Some say it is the 10 Commandments. Others say it's the lack of sincerity in the purpose of the churches. Still others think that it is worthless and not fit for the time that it takes to attend them. However, or whatever the final decision might be, it is certain that they will make a change, or rather, try to make one. The fact of the matter is that they have had only a reflection of the truth and not the real thing. Like one who holds up to the sun a mirror and casts a few of its diverted rays in a different direction. So have they done with the truth that is supposed to have come from the east. From the east comes all light. Though the sun is hanging at high noon, the blind cannot see the light. The same as the Islamic creed brought to the Asiatics from North America by Prophet Noble Jew Ali, who offered to those who were sick at heart, tried for many years, yet they are blind and cannot see the light. Nor the prophet trying to put new wine in old skin, for he knows that it will burst them. Yet he has the remedy for the nations. The same remedy brought by Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, which remedy is the truth. The nations do not want the truth. It is too stern. But until they accept it and find out where it truly is, there will continue to be religious controversy. Now we're talking about religious controversy. That's why my cousins, all of you that drive them trucks and want to sit down and listen to the tape now, check out the Moorish history about the Moors when they went into Spain from 711 to 1492 and gave Europe civilization. We told Europe about the Dark Ages. We brought Europe out of the Dark Ages. But them y'all tricked us. Man, they took everything that we had. They called our forefathers dead. They took our name. They took everything. They took our culture. They took our customs. They took our heritages. And they took our traditions. And each day we get worse and worse. And we keep talking, especially all these old leaders. They're going around and talking about the black man this and the black man that. Go back to 1492. Go back to 711. When the Moors went into Spain, we was Moors. But we're no longer Moors. Because Moors is something that they want to get out the way. Because if they don't get the Moors out the way, then they think gonna be happy. So what we have to do is in the Moorish Science Temple, I'm a part of the Moorish Science Temple, and I've been a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America 50 years. And in the Moorish Science Temple of America, there's certain things that we are taught. And one of the things we are taught in Act 1, it said the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. He said the assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So we have concepts, we have laws, we have customs, and we have all these things that Noble Jew Ali brought us because he was sent from Allah to do that. He knew they would. When we went in 1928, when we went over to the east and had that meeting, when Noble Jew Ali got back, they said, "Where's that?" I said, "Where's what?" He said, "Those things that you brought back." He said, "What I brought back is right here in my head, and I already gave it to the people." And that's what he gave us. He gave us Act 7 too. Act 7 say all members of property attend their meetings and become a part and a posture of all uplifting the acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members will pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Say, husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children, and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters, must obey father and mother and be industrious, and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. So we talking about you must keep your hearts and minds pure with love. So how can you keep your hearts and minds pure with love if you ain't loving the law of God? Because God gave us certain things when we went into Spain. We went into Spain as Muslims. That's who we were. We was Muslim when we went into Spain, but when we come out of Spain, we was no longer Muslim. We come out as Christians. And the foundation of Christianity began in Rome. So we have now become part of the Roman Empire. All of my friends that go to church, all of my family that go to church, you are part of the Roman Empire. You know that when you begin to talk about the foundation of Christianity that began in Rome, we talking about the Roman Empire. And it was the Roman nation that founded the first church. But when they found the first church, what did they do with the first church? They crucified my Jesus, buried him in Vatican Square. Now we know where the Vatican is. So what they saying is they took Jesus down. They buried Jesus in Vatican Square. And then you took on my name. You took on my name and started calling yourself Jew. We got expelled from Spain. 300,000 of us got expelled from Spain. But what you do, you walked up there and then you took charge. Now you the Jew. And when you look at the records from time never was when man was not, you will see that for 50 years you was called so-called Jew. And then they said, well, in 20 years, we don't have to say so-called no more because we got them. Right now, we got these Negroes. We got Negroes calling themselves black. We got all these people of African descent that's here in Portland, in D.C., in all countries across the nation. We call ourselves black and don't even see the essence of it. When you call yourself black, what you're doing, you're separating yourself from the human family. And what it is, you just like what you're calling them, you getting paid to tell our people that they black. And if you say that you black, then that means that you are outside of the constitutional fold. So if you are outside of the constitutional fold and you want to talk about reparation, I hear it every day. I hear these leaders that's been around all these years and took all that money, but they're talking about reparation. But the government know that when we call ourselves black, we are outside the constitutional fold. When we call ourselves black, we cannot ask for reparation. And the reason why we can't ask for reparation because who are asking for reparation? Now, we was Moors. We was Moors in 7-11. But when you got that money, you stopped calling yourself Moor. You couldn't even say Jew. You couldn't say Jew when you took your money. You had to say so-called Jew. Now you say so-called Jew, but you don't have to say so-called Jew no more because that's been 20, 25 years ago. What you say, somebody else is a Jew and you the black man. Somebody else is a German, but you the black man. Somebody said whatever, but like I said on the other show, you have people that got to be understood that when Hank Aaron and all those brothers was playing baseball, they was in the Negro League. Because that's the first name that we was given through the advent of slavery. We was known as Negro. And we still Negro. If you call yourself colored, if you call yourself black, if you call yourself Negro, you're a slave. You're a slave to sin. And any group of people that violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government, then you cling to the name and principles that delude to slavery. We have two flags, both national and international conjoining, making us Moorish American. But now we come to find out that when you begin to look at the flag, there's no flag right of the American flag. So a lot of times you fly both flags. Some people don't fly it at all. They got something else that they fly. And then they saying that they're Moorish American. You're not Moorish American. You took this and you got money. And you're taking this money and you still taking it to keep our people in slavery. And we understand that because, you know, all them people took that money to do what they did to Girardi. They sold them out. And I understand that because a lot of people do that because we are who our forefathers were. And those that took our name and gave it to themselves, how can they let you go anyway and say anything? The only thing that you could use when you step to the government is who your forefathers were. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. Well, who are these Moroccans? They are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Well, who are these Moabites? They are the biblical sons and daughters of Ham, one of the three sons of Noah, according to the biblical scriptures. And this is why we are Hamitic, by decent nature, by the way of Lot. And I'd like to reiterate, Lot is the son of Haran. Haran is the widow's son. Haran then Abel is the son of Terah. Terah is the son of Reu. Reu is the son of Pelah. Pelah is the son of Salah. Salah is the son of Aphaxus, and Aphaxus is the son of Shem. And Ham had three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. But look at Ham again, because Abraham was not always Abraham. According to the lessons, he first was Abram, and then he became Abraham. And he became Abraham when he found grace in the eyes of God. And you ain't gonna get this tomorrow morning in church. You ain't gonna get this Sunday morning. Because when you go to church Sunday morning, if you ask your preacher, Mary's mother's name was who? They're not gonna tell you Mary's mother's name was Anna. And Mary's father's name was Joaquin. Let's look at this again. Because Drew Ali brought us this. This is one of the things that we had to study when we first joined the temple. You had to know who Mary was. A lot of people say, I don't need to know who Mary is. All I need to know about Jesus. But you got to understand that when you talk about Jesus, it was Mary. It was Joaquin who taught Jesus. They got lessons in here of those who taught Jesus because Jesus was a part of the Essene Brotherhood. And the Essene Brotherhood of those who come from the east. It said from the east comes all light. And though the sun is hanging at high noon, the blind cannot see the light. So now a lot of times we say we can see. But a lot of times we can't see because we are blind. Right now, we don't even have that. Drew Ali said he ain't gonna wake everybody up at one time. He said if you wake up everybody at one time, he ain't gonna be able to do nothing with you himself. And I hear him every day. I mean, I got close friends that's in the church. They can't even tell you anything about Anna. They can't tell you anything about Joaquin. They can't even tell you anything about Joseph. And Joseph had a son named Jacob. And I said it earlier that we are climbing Jacob's ladder. But now when you're talking about climbing Jacob's ladder, we're talking about every round gets higher and higher. When you climb Jacob's ladder, that means that you're rising up the King's highway. You know what I'm saying? We are marching up the King's highway. We are marching to Zion, beautiful, beautiful Zion. When you march into Zion, that's where our forefathers introduced the Spirit to us as a people. So I said about a monologue, and I said something about a dialogue. When I talk to you today, I'm not even talking to you about a dialogue because you don't know nothing. You don't even know Jesus' mother's name was Mary. I was at the store up there after brother that. He told me you don't need to know that. You don't even know who taught Jesus. It just didn't come in there. He had to go to school. Jesus went to school and was taught. See? The same thing with you and me. The same thing that I'm telling you now. When you first learned about your forefathers' divine and national principles, this is who they gave you. They gave you Mary, and they gave you Ruth. They gave you Boaz, and they gave you Jacqueline. They gave you the two pillars. And these are two pillars that come from the Asiatic perspective. Your father and my father. So my uncle, I ain't never heard him say, I ain't know him, but I ain't never heard my family say it. Never heard them talk about Anna and Jacqueline. The only time I heard that was in the Moorish Science Temple of America. And the only time I heard that was when it came from my instructors. Because certain things are going to be kept from you anyway. You ain't never heard of it. You need to investigate. You know everything else. Investigate about Anna. Because I was thinking about my daughter, and I was thinking about their mother. And I was thinking about the character of those sisters. And by me teaching and thinking about the character of those sisters, it took me back to Anna. Because Anna was the one that taught Mary. And when Mary went to school and her mother sent her to school, her mother was teaching her was teaching her at the same time she was going to school. So what I'm saying to us of African descent, it is a sin for you to call yourself anything other than who your forefathers were. You went to school, you got 3-4 degrees, and you still don't know anything about Jacqueline. You don't know nothing about Jacqueline. And you don't know anything about Boaz. And you don't know anything about Ruth. And you need to know these things because these are the things that the Europeans teach. That's just like those who call themselves Jew. Wear them big old hats and everything. Everything they got, they took from me. Ain't no such thing. They're Europeans. And we know they know, and they know I know. They can't beat me up because they know I'm telling you the truth. Because I have an obligation. The only thing they can do is kill me. You killed me yesterday, kill me again today. But you have to tell the people the truth about themselves. Like I say, study Joseph. Joseph and Mary and John the Baptist, Elizabeth, all of these are the sisters that we was sitting under their feet. Because when you begin to talk about the woman, you're talking about our first teacher. The first teacher is a woman. Your mother used to blow your food and made sure it was warm enough for you to eat. See? And this is what we have to understand. That's our first teacher. She tie your shoes up. She teach you your prayer. See? And I don't care what prayer you taught, but just tell me a prayer that Jesus is involved. Because Jesus, our Father, who art in heaven, holy is thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on there. Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about? We're talking about the prayer. And we're talking about the Last Supper. See, the Last Supper is food for thought. When our forefathers was teaching the Last Supper, they was giving us wisdom. That's food for thought. They was giving us things to think about, putting in our mind and in our heart, the heart of the mind. See, where's the heart? The heart is in the mind, and the mind is all over. The mind is in you and me. We both have minds. And Juali taught us that. He taught us that because it came from Jesus. It came from Muhammad. It came from Buddha. It came from Confucius. This is why in 1453, Byzantine, you ever heard of that? They say, when was the head of Satan taken off? when the head of Satan taken off. And the lesson in the 101 question said the head of Satan was taken off in 1453. Byzantine. By whom? By Muhammad. So we went and fought with the Ottoman Turks to restore the Islamic creed. And we had to do that because later on they got crushed too. But you have to understand that in 711, we went into Spain to give Europe civilization. We stayed there to 1492. But before 1492 was 1453. Byzantine. And we fought with the Moors, the Ottoman Turks, to restore the Islamic creed. Now we're looking in the literature about the Turks. It said the Turks are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed beginning from Muhammad I. So now when you talk about the Turks, you going back to your forefathers. You going back to your history because the Turks, these are they that took our forefathers and buried them in Vatican Square. Everything that we hear now when they say that from the east comes all light, everything that you hear now when we talking about the things of Mary and Joseph, all these names were taken away from us, given to somebody else, and now we are Negro, colored, and black. And these names was given to slaves by slaveholders. Now we're talking about slavery, and we're talking about the slave owner. Now who is the slave owner? Those that enslaved you and me. And it hurts. It hurt right now because a lot of things is getting ready to come to fruition. Because when you hear people today talking again about all the little children that's being killed, all of the stuff that's transpired now, the president is asking for these many billions of dollars. But do me a favor. You got all them billions of dollars, put ours over there. Because we talking about reparation. Because the Moorish Americans get ready to come back together under one here. And once we come back, and once all the Moors go back to where they originally started from, we're going to have to sit down about reparation with you. Because we're suffering as a people. You want to give all these Europeans everything. They got it already anyway. And look where you took it from. You took everything from me. You took everything from my forefathers. So I'm always honored. I'm always honored to come before the Moorish Voice television broadcast to talk to you about the last prophet in these days and time. Because nobody, you know, you're going to hear it over and over because we got to keep talking about it. This is the issue. Drew Ali said, there is but one supreme issue for my people to use for that which was lost. And that is above principle. The lion and the lamb may lie down together, and neither will be harmed when morning comes. Because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be ringing in the land. So today, man is what his forefathers were. And there's no one who is able to change man from the decent nature of his mother and father unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. We don't want to talk about the Europeans. We don't want to talk about nobody. We just want to talk about us learning the teachings of the prophet, because the teachings of the prophet are the teachings of our forefathers. And if we learn to love instead of hate and teach these lessons to our little ones that they might learn to love instead of hate, we might be gone. But you're going to look up and see nothing but turban and fezzes. That's what Drew Ali said. He said the movement will go so low, you think it vanished from the face of the earth, and you look up and see nothing but turban and fezzes. We ain't going to never go that low because the law is in control. Did the angels give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin. So all of you who go to church and don't mention Anna's name, don't mention Joachim's name, don't mention Ruth's name, don't mention Boaz's name, you're a slave to sin. And as the book say, it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the name and principles that allude to slavery. What is the everlasting gospel? The everlasting gospel. You heard that? It said it is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet. So now we're talking about our forefathers. We're talking about the ancient. We're talking about the prophet. We're talking about those lessons that we was given to teach that we might learn to love instead of hate. And through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that we honor not the creed and principles of our mothers and fathers, but we strayed after gods of Europe of whom we knew nothing of. Now, what is the gods of Europe of whom we knew nothing of? Christianity. We accepted Christianity. That's not our religion. I mean, they got a million religions here in America, but I'm talking about those of African descent. Our religion was Islamism. It said, is that a new or the old time religion? It's the old time religion. It said, what kind of flag is the Moorish? It said, it's a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. It said, what do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, Noble Drew Ali told us, what is our nationality? It said, Moorish American. It said, why are we Moorish? It didn't say Moroccan Americans. It said Moorish American. See, because so many other people are using that right now. Even, like I say, Queen Isabella, her son, Meghan, and all them people, they took everything and took our forefathers. Look how they're beefing over the money that they got. They don't even supposed to be there. They're Europeans. What are you doing in Morocco? What are you doing in Morocco and you're a European? You took my forefathers, you buried them in Vatican Square, and you took all the name. Give me some money, man. I mean, come in here and help me with the studio. Give me some money. You know, but give it to the Grand Sheik, because I'm all right. You know, but through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their mothers and fathers and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing of. So now we're talking about reparation, and we're talking about nationality, and we're talking about 7/11. We're talking about when we went into Spain to give Europe civilization because they was over there acting crazy. And they're still acting crazy today. Look at them over there killing each other and everything. Look at it. Look at the news. Look at what they're showing us. I finish the next show. So at this time, I'd like to close out with the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.